Imagine a castle so magnificent that it shaped the identity of an entire kingdom, a place where amber glowed on the walls. Kings were crowned beneath towering vaults, and history passed through stone corridors for over 700 years. This is the story of Königsberg Castle, once the pride of East Prussia, now a vanished masterpiece of European architecture and power. The castle's origins trace back to 1255, when the Teutonic Knights, a powerful Catholic military order, conquered the hill of Teutonic, a stronghold of the native Prussians. They chose a strategic location along the Pregel River not just for defense, but because it sat on one of the most valuable trade routes in Europe, the Baltic Amber Route. The Knights built a wooden fort and named it Königsberg, or King's Mountain, in honor of King Ottokar II of Bohemia. Soon, the wooden fort was replaced by a grand stone and brick castle, built in the Gothic style typical of the Teutonic Order. It featured thick defensive walls, narrow pointed windows, and a large rectangular courtyard surrounded by cloisters. This wasn't just a fortress. It was a symbol of order, faith, and authority. Over the next centuries, the castle expanded, combining practical military design with artistic craftsmanship. By the 14th and 15th centuries, the castle had become one of the largest and strongest in the region. But its role changed forever in 1525, when Albrecht of Brandenburg, the last Grand Master of the Teutonic Knights, converted to Lutheranism and dissolved the order. He created the Duchy of Prussia, the first Protestant state in Europe, and made Königsberg Castle his official residence. This moment gave the castle major religious and political importance. As Prussia grew in power, so did the castle's scale and splendor. Over the next 200 years, it was transformed from a medieval fortress into a royal palace. The once plain, military interiors were redesigned with Renaissance and Baroque influences. Carved stone doorways, marble staircases, and elegant halls were added. Vaulted ceilings, grand chambers, and richly decorated walls showed that this was no longer just a castle. It was the seat of a rising kingdom. One of the most stunning parts of the castle was the Muscovite Hall, a ceremonial chamber over 80 meters long. With its high, curved ceiling and golden chandeliers, it was one of the largest vaulted halls in Eastern Europe. It hosted royal banquets, diplomatic meetings, and celebrations that echoed through its magnificent space. Nearby stood the castle chapel, another architectural gem. Originally Gothic, it was later updated in Renaissance style. Tall stained glass windows filled the chapel with color and light, while a powerful pipe organ played during royal ceremonies. The castle square outside was bordered by the eastern wing's grand facade, with columns, sculptures, and decorative arches. The northern wing held the royal apartments and government offices, while the southern wing housed the Prussian Museum, displaying thousands of artifacts, amber carvings, ancient weapons, royal portraits, and scientific collections. The castle wasn't just a political center. It was also a center of knowledge, culture, and heritage. Towering over it all was the Hauptturm, the main tower. Nearly 100 meters tall, it was the tallest structure in Königsberg and could be seen for miles around. From its top, visitors could view the entire city and the forest beyond. It stood as a proud symbol of Prussian might, visible from land and river. But perhaps the most legendary part of the castle was the Amber Room. Originally crafted in Prussia in the early 18th century and later gifted to the Russian Tsars, it was stolen by the Nazis during World War II and brought back to Königsberg Castle in 1941. The room was lined with over 6 tons of carved amber mirrors and gold leaf. It glowed like a jewel and amazed all who saw it. But after the war, it vanished. To this day, the Amber Room remains one of the greatest mysteries in art history. In 1944, British air raids devastated the city of Königsberg. Fires swept through the old town, and the castle was badly damaged. The following year, the Red Army bombarded the city again during the Battle of Königsberg, reducing much of the remaining structure to ruins. The once glorious halls of the castle lay open to the sky, blackened and broken. After the war, the city was annexed by the Soviet Union and renamed Kaliningrad. In 1968, Soviet leader Leonid Brezhnev ordered the remaining ruins of the castle to be demolished. The stones were blown apart by explosives, and the past was buried under ideology. In its place, the Soviets began building the House of Soviets, a massive concrete administrative building meant to represent the new order. But it was never finished. Its foundations were unstable, sinking into the old castle cellars. But history has a way of returning. In 2023, the House of Soviets was finally torn down. As the rubble was cleared, archaeologists uncovered parts of Königsberg Castle's old foundations. Vaulted cellars, stone passages, and fragments of sculpted walls emerged once again, drawing new interest from historians and the public alike. Today, people ask, should Königsberg Castle be rebuilt? Some say yes. It could become a symbol of cultural restoration, a way to honor the past and give the city a historic heart once again. Others say no. It should remain as it is, a reminder of what war and ideology can destroy. But no matter what happens next, one thing is certain. Königsberg Castle was one of the most important architectural and historical landmarks in Europe. It combined power with beauty, politics with art, faith with stone. Though it stands no more, its spirit and its story still live on.